Starting with some incredible new dash camera video from a driver on Highway 50 just as that medical helicopter was coming down last night. So you saw that helicopter drifting down from an angle, crashing there into sort of an embankment and rolling onto the highway. Smoke then started coming up from the chopper, and immediately you can see cars on the freeway stopping, some of those drivers running out to help. We're also hearing audio from first responders working to get those people help as soon as possible.
It's in the middle of the freeway. We're getting medical to them immediately. They just radioed everybody's still alive in the thing.
Well, after that crash, more than a dozen bystanders jumped out of their cars. They rushed in to lift that helicopter off of one person who was pinned underneath. And tonight we're starting to hear from first responders and witnesses.
It was just amazing how many people just started running to help.
Well, thanks for joining us. It's 6. I'm Gulston Dark.
And I'm Edie Lambert. Right now, we do know that the 3 crew members aboard that helicopter are at the UC Davis Medical Center. NBC News is reporting that all 3 are expected to survive. Here's what we know so far. The flight logs show the helicopter left Red Bluff Municipal Airport at 5:50. 45 minutes later, they arrived at the UC Davis Medical Center. After 7, the pilot lifted off from UC Davis and then crashed on Highway 50's eastbound lanes less than a minute later. Video from Livecopter 3 today shows the view from the UC Davis helipad in relation to the highway. You know, it's just adjacent there. We know that a pilot, a nurse, and a paramedic were on board. And again, at last update, we were told they had critical injuries, but NBC News reporting they are expected to survive. No one on the ground was injured. Tonight, the FAA and the NTSB are leading the investigation into what happened in the moments before that crash. We know the helicopter was a Reach Air Medical Services H-130. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office was on a patrol flight during that crash and just happened to witness it. They credit the pilot for the way he handled that emergency.
He was able to keep his momentum and clear all those houses to Highway 50 and then find a open spot on Highway 50 where he didn't hit any civilians as well, too. So major credit to that pilot.
And of course, just some incredible video here from after that crash, showing the moments people jumping out of their cars, rushing right to the crash site, lifting the helicopter so that first responders can get to one of the victims trapped underneath. KSARI 3's Maricela de la Cruz spoke to a couple of those people who jumped into action.
A scene that felt unreal for many. A medevac helicopter coming down onto Highway 50 Monday evening.
We were hitting the part of 50 where it starts to dip down low. And as we were doing that, I looked off to the right and I saw the lights of a helicopter, and it was very, very low. And it was skimming along just above the tree line and above the line of the freeway.
Kenneth DiCrescenzo was behind the wheel, and everyone in the car was paying close attention.
All of a sudden, just a moment later, the big fireball or the smoke was right in front of us.
As they came to a stop,
once the smoke cleared a little bit, you could see this was a helicopter.
Instinct kicked in.
So I just said, go out there and see if you can help. As soon as I did that, I'm like, well, I hope it doesn't blow up, and I hope, you know, he's going to be okay, but this is the right thing to do.
Without hesitation, DiCrescenzo and Elvin Norman jumped out, joined by others who witnessed the crash.
I just ran up to the helicopter, grabbed a piece of the tail section there where there was a space, and when they started to tell us to lift, we started lifting it up.
We wouldn't know if it was going to, you know, explode or if the fire was going to start or something, but that just made it where it was important to get them out of there as soon as possible in case it did.
The moment was captured by Terry DiCrescenzo as first responders relied on this group to help rescue the 3 people on board.
They just were there to help, and it was just people helping people, and I thought that was so amazing. And then when they all pushed and they were, I mean, you could see the helicopter being lifted up.
I felt lucky to be able to be there to help and get there at the right time.
Despite not knowing the victims, the group of friends is still reflecting on what happened.
I feel grateful that just a little bit of helping move that helicopter, for whatever my body contributed to that effort, helped save that person's life and move that person out and made the difference between the morgue and the hospital, really.
Maricela de la Cruz, KSARI 3 News.
As we mentioned, that helicopter pilot had just seconds to try to find a safe place to land after realizing the chopper was having problems. KCRA 3's Mike Cherry spoke with Live Copter 3 pilot Dan Oppenheim to get his perspective.
Emergency landings, forced landings, emergency procedures are practiced routinely. Commercial pilots, well, private pilots too, need to demonstrate proficiency in all kinds of different emergency procedures. The one that's very common is an auto rotation. That is practiced routinely. An auto rotation is a power off landing. I don't know for sure that that's the case that happened here. I don't know that there was a power loss. However, if there is a power loss, a pilot is very limited in where they can go, especially when they're low altitude and low airspeed.
Dan also tells us that he generally flies about 1,000 feet in the air to give himself more space to glide into a safe spot if necessary in case of an emergency. So we have been looking into air ambulances and accidents based on data from the NTSB and the FAA.
KCRA 3's Andrea Flores has been checking out those numbers, joining us now with what she found. Andrea.
So I've been digging into this, and there have been 2 other incidents involving Reach choppers in our area. So here's what we know. The first was in Apple Valley back in November of 2015. It happened during a firefighting training for patient loading and unloading. A towel that was unsecured near the landing site was sucked into a tail rotor that had a cover on it. There were no injuries, and it was only about 2 to 3 feet off the ground when this happened. The second incident was just a few years back in December of 2022. During a cruise flight at dusk, they encountered a flock of birds at about 1,500 feet. The pilot was wearing night vision goggles, and they tried to climb to avoid the birds. That's when they heard a loud bang. The pilot then felt pain in their leg. The aircraft began to vibrate, and the pilot initiated a landing in a nearby field without incident. The bird hit the windshield, and it caused damage to the windscreen, but other than that, there were no major malfunctions, and there were no reports of any injuries. So again, the NTSB is investigating the crash, and they say the Airbus EC-130T2 helicopter was operated by Reach Air Medical Services. Golston.
All right, Andrea, thank you. We're going to continue to follow this story on air and online as we get new information on the condition of the 3 injured crew members and the investigation onto what happened aboard that helicopter.